my name is Susan Collins, and I'm very pleased to be with you right now. I'd like to share a short presentation on how to dose the future. Let me share my screen and let's move into the PowerPoints. So, in dosing the future, we have to consider the past and the present. What we're trying to do really is to dose future probabilities and the benefits of actions that you take today. There are no guarantees in the future, but we can look at probabilities and make our best guess. Who am I to be telling you this stuff? I'm an ordained metaphysical minister. I have a native name given to me by my colleague White Eagle, carrier of the sacred water. I have studied in the North American native tradition with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, in the Celtic tradition, the Kabbalistic tradition, and my religion is metaphysics. My journey, I was clairsentient my whole life, and it was very difficult. As not a picture of me in the chair crying, but that was me back in the day, because there was no one to share this information with and no one to share the experiences with. I had a big corporate career and then got sick way back, and my hands were claws. For 23 years, I found dosing, and it took about 5 years, but I got off all my meds and I'm basically symptom free. So my past many decades has been dedicated to finding the mind-body connection between all things and creating my healthy future. In all this journey, I've written a lot of books, but let's get right down to it because we don't have much time together, really. How to dose the future. First off, we need to be in the present. We need to be fully embodied in our human bodies. Be present in where you are now. We need to resolve the past. Sometimes we carry things with us. We live in the past. Our memories and our experiences can influence what we're willing to do in this time. But to create our future, we need to resolve the past and then create the future. Through all of that, we need to choose. What do we choose? We choose our actions today. We choose our intentions. What do we want? What are we trying to get at? And we make a choice. Dosing. We're here talking about dosing, and what is it? It's a pendulum. It's working with an object that moves, which is a biofeedback device. But ultimately, I believe dosing is applied consciousness. We have our conscious minds, our subconscious minds, superconscious, and with laser-like thinking, we can move between these realms of consciousness to influence what is happening and what is manifesting and what we are creating. So what are we creating? And we hear about quantum physics. What is that? What is the quantum wave? So classically right now, quantum physics is the best guess that most scientists have. And they talk about the quantum wave and that there is only one wave function in the universe. There's not a lot of separate things going on. Everything is connected all the time. And the quantum wave is the realm of possibilities. Wave function collapse creates physical reality. And that's really what we're interested in. And how do we collapse the quantum wave? There's many ways of doing it. The best that I have found is through dosing, through intense focus on the probabilities by taking actions. Don't forget we have to do something. We can collapse the quantum wave. And we do that with our attention to what is going on. There are many possible futures depending on the choices you make today. So sitting around waiting to see what happens will give you one future. Being proactive and active in making your choices and taking physical actions will more probably create futures that you are interested in being part of. And of course, be careful what you wish for. Here's a little cartoon, the genie in the lamp, and the fellow says, I want to have money, enough money to last the rest of my life. And the genie says, granted, you have 1 week to live. So he's getting his wish, but be careful what it is you're asking for. What is it you really want to experience? Enough money, or do you want to experience the fullness of your life, whatever that is? So with dosing, we can communicate with all things and with all times. Remember, we talked about there being only one wave function in quantum reality, in quantum physics. So we are truly connected. You know, Eastern mysticism has said the same thing for years, and now we're finding that Western science agrees with that one wave function, and we can connect with it. The hardest thing, perhaps, A, is to focus one's mind to know what one is choosing, and also to receive and integrate the information that we are accessing. So we ask that integrate, receive useful information at the appropriate rate. We'd like to say useful information because there's a whole lot of stuff that will come down the pipe. So we ask for the information that is useful to me now so that I can make the most appropriate decisions. And we ask to be able to integrate this information into our daily lives. So in my experience, spirit often downloads huge amounts of information, but my human brain doesn't process as quickly as energy downloads. So that's where dosing is fabulous. I think dosing can be used to slow down the interaction between conscious, superconscious, subconscious minds, and slow down to a human scale. Uh, Not surprisingly, there's a lot of stuff out there, and not all of us, and I'm sure I know some of you will agree with me, not all the energies support our human experience. So we look to social media and movies, and we see examples of individuals, and we're looking at Gandalf and Luke Skywalker and Neo, who are fictional characters. But why are we so fascinated by these individuals and their tools and their abilities? It's because we know that dosing is one of these methods. And we as dosers have our little pendulums and our tools, and can also stand in this place where we can protect ourselves psychically. Some people don't use physical tools. I do, because I find it helps to have a little bit of separation between the energy, which is different form, and my body. So the tool is the intermediary. It's like the step down device from the universe, and it's the biofeedback device for my body. I call it a universal translator. So to create the psychic protection, how do we do that? I do the dosing protocol, and I'm going to share that with you and offer it to you as a free PDF. Whatever it is, you need to do something to prepare yourself to interact with these strong energies. We maintain our sovereign beings. So when we walk in these other realms, we can't walk as scaredy cats or unsure of ourselves. Only go so far into these other realms as you are safe and comfortable. And it's important to maintain your sovereign being, my body, myself, my planet. Know what that feels like. We need to stay conscious and to create triggers to stay conscious. And by that, I mean, don't be spaced out. When we drive cars, often it is our subconscious driving. We want to make sure we are fully conscious when we are working with the pendulum and working with energy, and that will keep us safe. Again, I use physical objects for safety. Many of us will have jewelry or crystals or stones or some sort of thing, but it's useful to have a physical object. If I don't have an object around me and I feel under psychic attack, I will dig my fingernails into my hand to create some pain. This is kind of an odd thing, but if you put a little bit of pain in your body, go, yeah, this is my body, I'm here. And it can snap you out of an unfortunate energy encounter, perhaps. And don't forget protection while you sleep, of course. So for me, I do the dowsing protocol in the morning and at night, and anytime I'm doing intention. So we're going to create the future. How do we do that? What do we want? And so it's good to make a list. I write things down. Here are some things that you could write down and fill in the blanks. I would like to be. I would like to feel. I would like to know. I would like to have. I would like to do. So these are some of the things you can consider. And, since you're watching the video and you can stop it, you might stop it at this point and just jot a few things down as to what are your goals for the future. Now, we all have many goals in many areas, but in this moment, choose one of those things. And if you're dosing already, you can dose, you can ask, which one of these things should I work on now? Or in the moment when you are doing this practice, uh, what should I work on? Because if we try to do everything at once, it sometimes dilutes our efforts. So sometimes we work on the easiest thing, sometimes we work on the hardest thing, and that's on a per case basis. So you've got your goal. Now, three very important questions I always ask with regard to the goal. Our conscious minds say, oh yes, I want this goal, but now Dowse and say your own name, am I willing to achieve this goal? Do I want to achieve this goal? Am I able to achieve this goal? And I find sometimes you'll get a little bit of disconnect or cognitive dissonance between what we think we want and what we are willing to have. So if you get a no on any of these questions, am I willing to achieve my goal, wanting, able? If you get a no on any of that, that's another opportunity to ask some dowsing questions. Why not, for example? What we're really doing here is rewiring our brains. And for these things, even if, and if it's hard to create the future and it's hard to have the confidence in oneself. Oh, I don't know if I can do that because when I tried it before, I failed. So we are, that's living in the past and we don't want to do that. So one of the little tricks that you can use to fool the left brain is even if you don't think you can do it, act like you can. So have that confidence. So it's as if you have the skills. It's as if you have the ability. Obviously, whatever you're doing, you want to be safe physically and in all other ways as well. So if it's a physical skill, skydiving, get training, obviously. But then when you're in that moment of jumping out of the plane, just, I can do this. Act as if you can. And another way to say that is fake it till you make it. So it's a way of calming down. And really our power comes from a restful state. Our power comes from a place of compassionate detachment. So do what you can in your traditions to get you to that calm place. And in that calm place, do your dowsing and create your intentions for the future. Now, I love this little picture of this little girl. And this is an affirmation you can work with. And I invite you to dowse it right now. And that is say your own name. I am worthy of respect, love, and money. And I'll tell you honestly, for me, it took me about 10 years to get to that point. Sometimes we have to get back to that place of being the child before we have the problems that come as an older person. Because children are generally optimistic and they don't know they can't do it. Dowsing, for example, they don't know it's impossible. Spoon bending, they don't know it's impossible, so they can do it. So quite often we go back to the place not of being childish, but of being childlike in our belief in ourselves and the power of the universe. So know that you are worthy of respect, love, and money, whatever's going on in your life. Then looking at the business side, once you're all grown up, we need to set your goal, and then you have a strategy, and then you execute, and that leads to success. And there's something called the 80-20 rule, which I learned in business. And this also can be referred to as the 90-10 rule. And that is, let's go 80-20. 20% of the effort gives you 80% of the result. So this is useful to move forward. As long as we're edging forward in our goals towards the future, then we have a chance of success. If you wait for 100% of something to happen before you act, then honestly, that will never happen. So go with, you do your best effort, do what you can with what you have, where you are, set your intention, take an action, and move forward. Moving forward is the biggest thing. And then just showing up. You show up for the appointment, honestly. You show up in the conversation. Just show up, be fully present. Okay, that's the pep talk. So let's look at a little bit more of dowsing. And there's something called psychic cords, and that's just a word, but it can be non-beneficial energy attachments. And this is useful if you have been trying towards a future goal and have had trouble with that. It may be that you have psychic cords attached. So let's look at that. Again, you can slow down the video here, stop it, and just go on bit by bit, but check this stuff out. So first thing, do I, say your own name, do I have non-beneficial psychic cords attached to my energy field on average that prevent me from reaching my future goals? Now you can adapt that question any way you want, but yes or no. Do I have non-beneficial psychic cords attached to me on average? And the time frame I always use is on average, because these energies are kind of slippery. And when you ask in a moment, they may not be there, but you could say the average of the last week, for example. Average of the last week, are these things there? So it's harder for the energies to hide. And your trickster energy does hide, and non-beneficial energies tend to be trickster. However, so let's say you have some non-beneficial psychic cords, and what are they connected to? So is it connected to a human? Is the human living or dead? Big question. Are they connected to some realm of spirit? Are the non-beneficial psychic cords attached to an animal, living or dead, a place, an object, or something else? In all my dosing, I use the word other, which helps to determine other things. So when you get to other, this is exciting because, oh, this is something new that we haven't really looked at before. The next thing with your psychic cords, so let's say they're attached in there, somehow they're there on average, which way are they flowing? Are they flowing, is the energy coming into you or is the energy going out? If the energy is going out, is it that it's being sucked out of you? If it's coming into you, are you the one sucking it in? And honestly, as the mother of adult children, I know that it's really hard not to be the parent who is trying to live their child's life or trying to influence them somehow. So the biggest gift we give to our children is to just let them live their own life and to be free. Okay, so that's my confession. I always like to give a personal example. So if you've got some of these psychic cords, how many are there? And do they go into specific points of your body? So this is all research you can do. And this is an interesting journey to go on. So the big thing here is a plus minus chart. And I'm not sure if you folks use that, but we often use a ray chart to choose between things. Should I have fish, beef, vegetarian for dinner? But you'll notice in this ray chart, I'm going to use my cursor to show you up and down here. 0 is neutral. So we always start with our pendulum running up and down 0. Dear pendulum, show me. I always say, dear pendulum. I say, I'm nice to my tools. Please swing to line and number 0. And that's your neutral. On the right side of your chart are the plus readings or beneficial, and it goes 0 to 10, but this can be, to 100%. So if I get to a 6, I might say 60%. On the left side is the minus numbers. So if you're looking, on the caption here, please show me the overall effect of X at this time. So perhaps you're thinking of your future goal, and you're thinking of a certain action. So you would say, well, please show me the overall benefit of taking that action at this time. And if your pendulum on the chart is running into the minus area, that tells you that's probably not a very good idea. If, on the other hand, the action reads as, oh, you know what, that's like a +9, +10, then that indicates there's a more benefit to that particular action. And of course, you fine tune these things, but that's the overall thing. So let us do the dosing protocol together. So again, we have a little short video here, but you can listen to it again. I'm going to run through the protocol at this point, and I always use my tool with whenever I do the protocol, because the physical action plus the intention helps to create the miracles. Now I use a bobber because it's easier to see. It's easier. Either way, you know what? Either way, if you've got a bobber, use it. If you've got a pendulum, use it. So I'm going to the dosing protocol. You've got that on your screen. First up, you want to balance your physical body. So you're not dosing when you're sleepy, you're tired, you're hungry, you've got many chores to do. That's the first thing. Next one, you connect with the self. So let us say, and I sigh, that is my connecting into deeper, different brainwave frequencies. I ask to connect with my human body for my good health. I ask to connect with the intelligent and beneficial energies of nature. I ask to connect with the divine source. Whatever your tradition is, please use that. I ask to connect with my spirit team, who are, I call them the posse. These are the beneficial beings that are with me all the time. And then I ask for the assistance of beneficial beings in resonance with me and the divine, who can assist me in the specific action. So if you've got a future goal, you would ask, I ask for the assistance of beneficial beings who can assist me in achieving X. And these beneficial beings will just be with you during the dosing session. So that's your classic sign in there. I do forgiveness, and this is a prayer taught to me by many horses many years ago. Creator, forgive me. I forgive myself. I forgive all those who've harmed me. I release them from my body, mind, and spirit. I ask all those who I have harmed to release me. If you can't forgive somebody, because yes, it is true that horrible things have happened to each of us, and sometimes we can't forgive. So let us then hold accountable those people who have harmed us. We are not victims, we are survivors. These are life experiences, and we just let that go. It's like, and we don't even need to know vengeance. We don't need to take vengeance on anybody, and we don't even know if revenge happens. So forgiveness, creator forgive me, I forgive myself. This, it's a hugely important part of resolving the past, and we need to resolve the past to create the future. So forgiveness. And I'm going to send you this. If you want, send me an email. I'll give you the address. I will send you a more complete version of this dowsing protocol. Step 4, clear yourself of non-beneficial energies. This is the disconnecting. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's a lot of words, so we have a short amount of time. Step 5, once you've gotten I call it dirty water almost, the non-beneficial energy, it's like emptying the bucket. Step 5, we need to add in beneficial energies that will assist you in achieving your goal. Um, if you don't add in step 5, the beneficial energies, you just get random energies filling in your bucket. So again, this is part of the laser-like focus. You set your intention, you do your protocols, you disconnect barriers, and you enhance beneficial energies that support you. The permission, may I, can I, should I? Sometimes it's not the right time to dose. So just go through that. The dosing part is the easy part, honestly. It takes a bit of training, and I can help you with that if you want. But I think if you're watching, you probably know how to dose. Step 8, creating the ongoing energy matrix. This is an ongoing system, so that we don't just dose in this moment, that we create an energy pattern that assists us in creating the future. So remember, my hands were claws for 23 years after I was diagnosed. And I tried everything. I tried drugs. I finally found the dosing. It took 5 years of dosing regularly to disconnect non-beneficial energies from my body and to enhance my body's energies. 5 years of regular dosing. So it wasn't overnight, but I got off all the steroids, methotrexate, all the rest of it. And I have been on drugs for 15 years or something like that, except for a multivitamin. Anyway, you create this ongoing matrix so that the energies are adjusting all the time, adjusting the frequencies and moving you, nudging you forward towards your goals. So it's important to have that step. Also important in the session, number 9 is to disconnect. So you're doing your work, you're creating your intention, you're setting up your matrix. But then when you go back to, well, it's time to go grocery shopping or go to work or feed the kids or something, then you disconnect from the session. You don't disconnect from your spirit team, who you found and acknowledged in step 2, but you disconnect from all these other energies, because as human beings, our bodies are not designed, I don't think, to be continually in that in the energy realms, in the other realms. That's a way that we get sick. So the healthiest way to be is fully in your body. You have a dosing session, you do the work, and then you disconnect from the session and go back to being a fully human being and make sure that you're fully back. Number 10 on the protocol is thanking the energies that have helped you. And number 11 is to communicate your results appropriately. So, of course, our neighbors and our friends and family members think that what we do perhaps is not average. It is true that many of us are not average, but we are fully normal. This is a birthright technology. There have always been people who could interact with energy. What was missing in our generation was any training in that. So thank goodness now that there are different groups that provide training. So yay for that. We're all one. Okay, let's get right down to it. Dose future probabilities. So I'll send you this chart if you want. Send me an email, which I'll give you my email address again. So on the left is the proposed action. So you've already set your goal, and write this stuff down. Have a blank page and write it down. Be very clear. Be very clear. Dose your goal. Is this the most appropriate goal to work on at this time? Now think of your actions and write those. What are the possible actions you could take? And then put that proposed action into the chart, proposed action. Then you can dose. And I've got the plus minus chart at the bottom there. So remember, we can look at the overall benefit of certain actions over a period of time. So the chart here is next 3 months, 1 year, 5 years. So this is the baseline. I always do baselines first. You'll notice that the last column, can I improve this with dosing? So don't do that one yet, but just write down your action. And again, you can stop the video and work at this at your own rate. What is the proposed action or series of actions? And then you look at your plus minus chart and say, please start in neutral, pendulum swing to line and number 0, which is neutral. And I often say the truth, I can handle the truth, because often we are quite emotional. So when you say, I can handle the truth, I ask for the truth, that helps bring the truth in. And then you'd simply say, please indicate, pendulum, please swing to the line and number which best represents the overall benefit of this action, proposed action, over the next 3 months, and then write that down. Please indicate the overall benefit of this proposed action in 1 year, and then again, this proposed action in 5 years. And sometimes you'll get a short term, oh, this is going to be really good, and then it drops off in 5 years. Or you might get in the next 3 months, like changing jobs, for example, that there's all kinds of choices we can make that have short-term pain associated with them. But if you look, okay, next 3 months, this is going to be a little difficult, but look, in a year and 5 years, things get better. So that's your baseline reading. Then check, okay, can I improve these outcomes using dosing techniques? Dosing being to disconnect barriers and to enhance supporting energies. So then you go through the whole series again. So, there's a lot of work. For me, I've always, I love my charts. I love writing things down. I like to slow the process down so that I can really, in my human brain, understand what I'm doing. Because if you're not really clear on what you want or what the action is, then it's very difficult for spirit to give you accurate answers. And, what is spirit? That's another whole question. Where are these answers coming from? You are creating them by collapsing the quantum wave. So we have different cultural names for many things. And whatever your tradition is, please respect that. Use the spiritual or religious terms that are consistent with your belief system. I'm not trying to change you into anything, but just I'm staying in a physics perspective. We can work with the current ideas about quantum physics to create healthy futures. So I'm excited by that, and I've been working on my futures all this time. So again, my email is susan@dowser.ca. If you send me an email with protocol and chart in the subject line, I'll be happy to send you some free PDFs so that you can work on that yourself. And of course, I have a full practice. I teach internationally, and I invite you to check out my website, dowser.ca. And I invite you to just participate, live your life fully. Be who you are, be who you were meant to be, and know that you are worthy of respect, love, and money. So thank you so much for participating in this presentation. I know it's short, but you can watch it again. And I wish you all the best in your future. Thank you.